Chris Hughton has named his first squad for the Black Stars. First of all, what's your general impression? What do you think about this squad when you saw it?
Well, it very much looks like a lot of the lads who went to the World Cup are here. It's like a continuation of what I started before the World Cup or during the World Cup. So a core of the players that went to the World Cup are there, and some players whose performances have also been very consistent between the World Cup and now have also been rewarded. And generally, it looks like a squad that is good. And when you get the reaction on social media, you have a feeling many people are impressed. They are happy with the call up. So yeah, I think I'm on that score. I'm impressed with what I've seen.
Okay, does this in any way let you believe that maybe Chris Hughton is just a continuation of what Oswaldo was doing?
Well, until he plays his first game and you see the kind of plays he picks, it will be difficult to know if it's a continuation or there's something more to him. But in principally or basically, he just picked the core of the team that is already there. Because before the World Cup, the team was very new and fresh. And we all spoke about the inexperience or lack of game time amongst players. So what Chris Hughton has gone on to do now is to pick virtually the core of that team to build around them. To be fair, he didn't have to do much because that is about the best available. It's not as if you've got another set of players somewhere and he's decided not to go for those sets and decided to go with this set. That is just about the best that was available to him. So it was always going to be the Partey's, the Kudus, Jordan Ayew, Amate, Salisu. They were always going to form the core of the team. So yeah, it's a continuation in terms of squad. As to whether the style of play will be different, I suspect it will be different, but maybe we'll come to that. But when he plays his first game, maybe we can tell.
Okay, then obviously let's talk the specific. I think for the goalkeeping, obviously, we all knew that Danlad would obviously be out, and you're going to have Walakot when he comes back. So you are not really surprised there, isn't it?
No, there's no surprise. Danlad was never going to go to the World Cup after the injuries to Ofori and Jojo Walakot. So he got a late caller. So once Walakot got back, it was pretty straightforward that it was going to be Danlad making way for, Walakot to come back into the side. Ofori still struggling with injury, hasn't played much. So it made sense that Manaf, who was at the World Cup, then Walakot and Atsigi again were a very good World Cup coming to the fore. Danlad, as his form also at the Chan wasn't necessarily good. And coming back to Kotoko as well, he hasn't looked all the impressive goalkeeper. So it actually makes sense that a goalkeeper who was the late call-up throughout the World Cup is ousted for the goalkeeper who was going to be the number one to reclaim his spot.
Obviously. Now let's look at the defenders. I think one player that is basically out is Abdul Babaraman, and then the new face there is Patrick Bozo. Do you know him? And what will you tell us, anybody who doesn't maybe don't know him?
Right. Yeah, we know Patrick Bozo from the youth teams that he's played in your under 20 and 23 at times when he's featured. But he's since not necessarily had the time to play for the Black Stars. Babaraman, we understand, has injury problems, so he's been excused. But it's an opportunity for Patrick Bozo then to also show all Ghanaians and the new manager what he's all about. And for those who don't know the brand of football he plays as a left back, he's a left back, but he's got a lot of energy to run down the line. One thing that is certain about Patrick Bozo is that in one-on-one defending, he can be very resolute, can be very strong. It's not easy to get past, not easy to beat. And there's another aspect of his game where he tries to get down to the bar line. His crossing is not consistently good, but when he takes 10 crosses, expect 4 of them to be finding his man. So he's not the best crosser of the ball. I think it's an average crosser of the ball. But what is good about him is that he's strong enough to deal with the physicality of fast attackers in one-on-one.
Is he an upgrade? Because obviously, if you are bringing in a player into the national team, you expect him to be maybe better or outpowered. Is he an upgrade of Babaraman, or he's maybe on the same level with him, or for somebody who don't know him?
Yeah, I think on certain aspects, it's an upgrade. And on certain aspects, it might probably be on the same level with him. I think when it comes to defensive abilities, pure defensive abilities, he's an upgrade of what Babaraman is. I like Babaraman, but I like to think of Babaraman as a wing back now than a full back. Because when it comes to his defensive duties, proper defending, I'm not sure Babaraman is the strongest at it. But when Babaraman is pushing forward, at times, some of his runs that he makes are lovely. And his comebacks have been indecent at times as well. So I think when it gets into the final third between Patrick Bozo and Baba Rahman, there isn't much difference in their end products. All of them are not special, I'd say. I think Baba Rahman is slightly better than Bozo. But when you want a proper person to defend the width as a fullback, I'll pick Patrick Bozo over Baba Rahman.
Okay. I think for the defense, I think Dennis, Gideon Mensah, Patrick, Daniel Mate, Joseph Edu, Salisu, and Njiku. I think these are players that we're expecting them to be there. Is there any defender somewhere that you feel should have been in there that is not there?
No, none really comes to mind readily. I think, like I said, it's a continuation of the squad. When you go Salisu, you've got Amate, you've got Edu, you've got Jiku. That is 4 very good centre backs that you can pick from anytime to do a job. If you want to play the back 3 system, you've got enough in there. And Dennis Odoi at times can even be one centre back of the 3 when you choose to play the back 3. So he has enough in that central centre back role to play with. Gideon Mensah is not new to the Black Stars. Tariq Lamptey is not new to the Black Stars now. I need to say he has had his injury worry, so he's out. But Dennis Odoi and then Tariq Lamptey should be good enough for the qualifiers. So yeah, defensively, I think it's just about the strongest Chris Hughton could have picked.
Yeah, so I think it's in every position we have like 2, because right back we have Tariq Lamptey and Dennis Odoi. Centre back we have like 4 or so, which is Amate, Joseph Edu, Mohamed Salisu, and Alexander Gishu. And then for the left side, we have Patrick Bozo and then Dennis Gideon Mensah, which is 2 on each side is balanced.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, let's look at the fact that we start to group wingers and midfielders. Look at Jordan Ayew, Usman, Pencil. I think Joseph Pencil joining this team, and then Ransford coming in with some of the players out, like Ishaku not making it this time around. Are you surprised that Ishaku is not there?
No, I'm not. I'm not surprised. He's in more recent time, he's playing for Sports Analyst Sitso under 19. And we know that in the Portuguese league, it doesn't matter how young you are. If you are good enough, you get opportunities. So we've seen, when you look at Benfica, when you look at Sports Analyst Sitso, FC Porto, even if you're 18 years and you're a special talent, and you have the feel you're ready, you're going to play. So he's not playing in a league where you're thinking it's a Man City or it's a Chelsea, so it's an Arsenal or Man United, where they're looking for ready-made starts who they're bringing big names for Real Madrid or Barcelona. But even Barcelona now, if you're good, you play. So the fact that he's not playing for the senior team at Sporting quite clearly tells us his level. And in more recent, I'll be playing for under 19. And a player who plays for under 19 side of any club side should get nowhere near the national team. I think he's still developing. He's shown the sign that he's talented, but he's just shown the signs again that he's still young and not ready yet for the competition at the senior level. So yeah, I think even though he's got a prospect ahead of him, I'm not surprised Fatai is missing out in the squad.
Okay. I think obviously, let's look at Joseph Pencil and he now being part of it. I was saying that if that guy does not make it, Chris Hughton cannot arrive in Ghana because he'll be dead on arrival.
Yeah. Considering the fact that before the World Cup, many people called for him to be included because he had a very strong start to the league in Belgium.
Yeah.
But the danger with players having strong starts to leagues ahead of every World Cup or having strong ending to seasons ahead of every major tournament can be tricky. But players know that there's a call-up coming up, so they can give 110%. Sometimes it doesn't really reflect their general output. But what has really stuck with me is that he's not only going to have a good start to the season, but after the disappointment of missing out on the World Cup, he's gone on to produce even better. He's actually playing better than he played at the start of the season.
Yeah.
So that is, again, a player who's mentally very strong. Because I've seen players where when they've been disappointed with call-ups, they've not necessarily had their places in their heads in the right places, and their form has just kept. Not him. He has gone on to progress and build on his form and all of that. So, like I said, some of the players who have been included in this team give confidence that the team is very much on merits. It is not based on any templates anywhere. And Joseph Pencil is a clear indication of one of those. And many people have wondered what the team would have looked like if he played in the World Cup in itself.
What we all know him in Belgium and whether he's a winger but has that ability to score goals what does he bring different from the normal players we've seen and the kind of football we saw at the World Cup?
We've seen wingers in the Ghanaian side who are comfortable on one side. When you think of Kamaldeen Sulemana, you have a feeling he's very comfortable on the left. When you think of Jordan Ayew, you have a feeling he's very comfortable on the right. But Joseph Pencil is comfortable on either flank. He can play on the left, he can play on the right, and he's comfortable either ways. And when he's stretching the line, he's perfectly brilliant. Now, the one thing that he's added to his game is goals. But the one thing that we knew he always had was goals. But the one thing that's added to his game now is the ability to find his teammates. And also, when you watch Joseph Pencil play, one of the reasons why I think any manager would love to work with him is attitude when he plays. He works very hard for the team. He drops back to help in defending, and physically, he's very, very fit and sharp to get on the other end of the pitch to lead counter-attacking football. He's also got a very good ball carrying ability, so he can be able to carry the ball for some 20 yards or some 30 yards to push the team further forward. And when he gets there, one of the things that when he was building up his confidence, I thought he had to improve, and now he has, is because he's quick on the ball. Sometimes when he has to make a decision, it's too early or too late. But all of that is in the past now. Now, when Pencil is on the ball, he's confident enough to really process a thought and make the best decision available to him, when to take a shot or when to pass it. So Ghanaians are looking out for a player who has got a great deal of pace. He's fit. He works hard for the team. He can score goals. He can produce. And in the final third, I think he's one of the most decisive players in the call-up.
I see. Let's talk about the midfielders. And I don't know if you have realized this, but there was a time that whenever there's a Ghanaian call-up, we have a lot of midfielders more than any other position. But this time around, happens to have more defenders with just 4 midfielders. I don't know if you have also realized that it looks as if you are producing more defenders than midfielders this time around.
Yeah, we're actually producing more defenders, more wingers than midfielders. And Ghana used to be. Yeah. And I remember people used to say that because we play the small post a lot in Ghana, so you have a lot of midfielders. But small post is passing. Yeah, you don't have a lot of strikers. Everybody's a midfielder in Ghana. All of a sudden, we don't have when you compare this Black Stars to the Black Stars before, we don't have the best group of midfielders playing at the very highest level. So when it comes to the Ghanaian midfielders, we've always had more midfielders than any other department. But in recent times, that has changed. And now we are looking at the midfielder, you're thinking that could be the space in the team that is not at the strongest, especially on the bench. Because when you look at the wingers, when on the bench, we've got solid wingers. Whoever starts, we've got a very good backup. But you have a feeling that in the middle of the park, we are not at our strongest. Part of the problems we have in our midfield is the fact that some players are injured. And Daniel Kofichia is one of those players. He's injured. But he's a very good midfielder, gives us a lot of options. Baba Idrisu also returned from injury. He's been playing. But again, he's also an option who can come back into the team anytime, depending upon form and what the manager wants to use it for. So now we've got Salis Mohamed, who is brilliant. He was brilliant at the World Cup. He's brilliant in the French League. You've got Thomas Partey, who is carrying Arsenal to trying to win the league. You've got Ado, who we've not seen much of, but he's a different profile of midfielder who, when he has a very good number 6 partnering him, he could do a very good job. So I think, midfield, we don't have a lot of midfielders, but what we have, if they are properly coached and the right combinations are picked, I have absolutely no doubt that we can have a very strong team.
If you look at someone like Majid Asmari, for instance, who is now into the team, he's one of those players that everybody, I think, there's a call for him to be included in this team. You believe that this is his time for him to prove to everybody that he deserves to be there? And do you think this is also going to put a lot of pressure on him when he's given the chance to play?
Yeah, I think it will. It might put a little bit of pressure on him because for a very, very long time, in the last 3 years or so, whenever they are call-ups, everybody's asking why Majid Asmari is not playing. Because he's played games for Anderlecht, he's been doing well for his club, but he's never really been invited. So now that he's here, he has to show everybody why the media, if you like, were clamoring for him to be there. Because believe me, when the media starts mentioning names of a lot of players that the fans start jumping on it, then that's a fact. So now he has to prove to the coach, he has to prove to the fans that he's got quality. But those who have watched him play, those who have seen him know that he can be a very good player. And the fact that he's versatile in midfield also is an arsenal for him because he can play as a DM, he can play as a central midfielder. At times, he can be your number 10. So he can be in the team and do different jobs depending upon how the team sets itself up. But ultimately, he has to own the position or has to command a place in the team and take the opportunity when it comes to him to play.
Now, let's look at the forward. And one name that stands out for me is Mohamed Kudus. The fact that he has migrated from being a midfielder, so to say, to now being a forward. Is it we agreeing that he's not a goal scorer instead of just a midfielder?
Yeah, I think Mohamed Kudus is a lot of things, but what I personally don't think Kudus is a number 8. I've never really fancied him as a number 8 or a number 10. I think Kudus is a player who, because he has so many ideas running through his head when he's got the ball, because of his abilities, as young as he is, when he's playing too far away from goal, he overcomplicates things. He's taking too many players on, he's missing the pass, or he's not picking the right pass, he's over dribbling. Yeah. But when you play him close to the target, then it is quick for him to do it, because when you've got the ball in and around the box, you are shooting or you are passing. When you've got the ball in the wide area, you are crossing or you are passing. But when you've got the ball in your own half, or right in the first half of your opponent, or in the final in the second third, which in and around the center circle, because of the skill set and ability he has, and because he's very young and sometimes inexperienced, he overdoes it. So I think he isn't a number 8 in my opinion, even though he's got the quality. He's one of those players that I think when he's aging and he's losing a bit of his pace and power, he can easily be one of the most intelligent number 6. Like we saw Andrea Pirlo, like we saw Michael Carrick.
I think Rooney at a point in United was
Rooney at a point, yeah. At the moment, he's so hot and he has too many things about him to play him far away from the target. And that is why, even though Schroeder wasn't the best coach for Ajax, he probably is the best thing that has happened to Kudus and Ghanaians, because he really has been able to perfect roles for Kudus in the final third of the game. So now Hertinga plays Kudus on the right, where he's close to the box, he can cut in, or place him as the false line where he's effective. So I think at the moment, Mohamed Kudus' best place is not in central areas, but it is in the offensive end of the game, where he can be quick with his thoughts, he can shoot quick in time, he can pick the quick pass, and of course, he's shown that he's a very good goal scorer as well.
Okay, sure. So we have attackers, Mohamed Kudus, Andrea Yukama, Soa, Inaki Williams, and then Antoine Semenyo. These are our players that play at the highest level, but if you take Kudus, who is not out and out striker, the rest of the strikers are not scoring goals. And I don't know, maybe in the national team, they'll be able to give us the goals. But is there any striker somewhere that you think should be here? I've heard people talk about Benjamin Tete, but do you believe it's because he's coming out from Asia, or he just needed to be here?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Benjamin Tete because he's the one kind of striker that at the moment we don't have. His profile is different. Big lad, tall lad, very competitive in the air, can hold up the play, can bring others into the game. But listen, when he's gone off with the injury that he has gone off with and had a knee injury and come back into the game, it's just perfect they give him breathing space. He's going to be a weapon anytime soon when he's fit and sharp. But at the moment, he has to focus with his club side, get confidence, get rhythm, blend in, because he got into Hull City and straight away was injured. Now he's back, he's scored. It's like he's settling in. So when he's fit, we'll have him any day, anytime as part of the Black Stars team, because we don't have another striker who plays like him. All the other strikers that we've got are carry the ball, they like tight corners, but there isn't one player who is a proper target man. And Benjamin Tete is a target man. I just think the call-up came too early or too soon for him after he had just returned from injury.
Are you scared for some of the players that were dropped that maybe they will never come back again? I'm talking about someone like Ishaku. I'm talking about someone like Barbara Man, Che, and the likes. Are you scared for them? Then we wrap up.
No, I'm not scared for some, but for some, I'm not scared for a player like Afenajan, Ishaku, because they are still young. So their destinies are in their own hands, really, because they have to work hard. They are young. I mean, Afenajan is what, 20, 22,
yeah, I think
21?
21, yeah.
Yeah. Ishaku is 19, almost 20.
Yeah,
I mean, they are very young. So I'm not scared for them all, because they've got their destinies right in their own hands. They've got to work hard. And they've got a lot of years ahead of them, so I'm not scared for them. When Daniel Kofi is fit, I think he comes straight back into the team because he's a special talent. He's a very good footballer. If he's fit and sharp and playing well, he comes into the team. So I'm not scared for him. But Brahman is one of those players who I don't think has age on his side for the position he plays, because he's not getting any faster. And in that role that he plays, he needs to be fast enough. He's also not shown that he can play anywhere else apart from on the left flank as a wing back or a fullback. He's not one of those players you're going to think that at his retiring age, he could play as a centre back. He doesn't look like it. So if players begin to own that left back role well, then it could spell the end for Baba Rahman. But yeah, I still think he plays in a big club rather than in the championship. If he keeps the performances going and is fit, he could very much still be fighting for it. So I don't think those who have been dropped by any means are losing out. They have to work hard. Bani has to work hard. Danlad has to work hard. And it's a good thing that people are getting into the Black Stars on merit, so that you know that the metric for getting into the Black Stars is hard work.
All right. So I think someone will say a new manager under Chris Hughton. Let's see. One thing that I believe he needs to really work on is public perception and the PR. And he comes across as someone who is a very good communicator. And I think his experience will come in handy, because his first press conference is going to face a lot of questions, and how he'll be able to convince us after a game where we expect him to play well. I think someone who has played in the English Premier League knows how to control the media, and I think he will be fine. And it's something that I really like about him, the fact that he's a good communicator, and he has handled the English press is really going to help us. Felix, Sitso, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure speaking with you, and we'll come again when the need arises. Have a good
day. Thank you.
Sure.